I bought a 4-star mystery golf ball box off Amazon to see, well, if it was worth it. I'm not going to lie, I don't know if I've been sent the wrong box. Lake balls, 40 of them, £26.99 for the entire contents of the golf box. And I've done a few reviews recently on the lower end when it comes to golf balls, but they've been packaged up brand new, sold at retail or a discount in a brick and mortar store. Today we venture online, specifically Amazon, from a very reputable and well-known company, Encore Golf, when it comes to pre-loved golf balls that other people have lost. And at £26.99, I thought that was quite a good value when it works out at about 67p per golf ball. The question is, what brands have we got in here and what is the quality of them like? Will these balls in here be destined for the practice bag, or can some of these make their way into your golf bag, specifically for your winter golf game, when, let's be honest, the greens are going to be quite soft anyway. So we're going to open the box up and I'm going to separate them into different brands that we get in here. Obviously looking for some of the bigger name brands that you would want to see, i.e. Srixon, Callaway, TaylorMade, all those kind of brands. Tell you what, right from the get-go, I remember playing this back in the day, Wilson Staff DX2. That was actually one of my favourite golf balls to find out on the golf course when I was younger. I'm not going to lie, I don't know if I've been sent the wrong box or what's actually going on in here, because apart from, hang on, here's another one of my cheeky little favourites, another Wilson Staff DX3 soft spin, beautiful little golf ball. I'm looking in this bag here, and obviously we'll separate some of them in terms of obviously the quality, but all I've got is basically just Titleist golf balls. I've got 40 Titleist golf balls. Interesting. 36, 38, and then 2 Wilson Staff golf balls. I've got 36 Titleist golf balls from all different eras and makes. I'm going to break down some of these, as some of these I feel are better than others, but we did get a nice little pencil, which is always useful, and then you got some other discounts with Encore Golf themselves. Interesting, wasn't expecting that. I was hoping for a bit more diversity, but nonetheless, I still think this is going to be quite interesting to separate. And by the way, I'm not knocking that I've got a load of Titleist golf balls, as I think anyone that went down this route and bought this box of Lake balls for £26.99 would actually be very pleased that the majority of them are Titleist. However, it still made me chuckle a bit to see there's not that a mixed array of golf balls. You're not trying different Callaways or Srixons or TaylorMades. You've basically got a lot of Titleist to work with, and obviously I understand it comes down to their quantity and supply and what they've got left in stock. Okay, let's do some sorting, and even though the price of it, £26.99 for 40 balls, is a good price and obviously going to be one of the cheapest out there, are some of these unusable? Are some of these so old that it isn't worth putting them in your bag? Are they going to do more detriment to your game than help? And are you better off going down to a more affordable golf ball? It won't be as cheap, let's be honest, but you know what you're getting. Each ball is the same. Each ball is the same quality, just like when I did the review of the Kirkland signature ball. £30 for 24 balls, obviously a lot more expensive than what we have here per golf ball. At least you'll know what you're getting with each one. Let's see if we can find some gems in the rough for all of these, shall we? Now, from the 40 balls, I'm going to say 10 of them are basically not good for the golf bag. Okay for a bit of practice, but as you can see with a few of these, I think a lot of these have been left in the water for quite a long time. You almost see that kind of like boiling, melting effect, and that's not water on the golf ball, that is the plastic in between the dimples that's slightly somewhat raised, which is going to affect your ball flight. As you can see, it's relatively worse on the top end of the ball, and as I say, that's not water, that is the cover itself almost boiling over after being left in water, I imagine, for quite a bit of time. And sadly, there's a few of those with that same kind of effect in the top of the bag, not to mention there's a few that are actually quite discoloured. I don't know the massive amount of research that you have with how long a golf ball can be left in water, but I imagine after a certain point in time that the ball does start to deteriorate and you are going to lose some ball speed and you are going to lose obviously some distance in that effect. Not to mention, the covers themselves through the entirety of this are actually good. They haven't provided any golf balls that has like a massive chunk or a bunker mark or a wedge off a tree, you name it. So in terms of the covers, pretty good, but it's quite obvious to see, which makes sense considering the price that I got them for. Some of these are definitely quite old, and with that age, it does make you think, how long had they actually been left in the water? Moving on to the main bulk of the golf balls, are actually in pretty decent condition. Again, we do have some marks and do have some scrapes on the golf balls, but the covers themselves and everything else in terms of the coloration is actually pretty good, intact. PTS Solo, you might remember this back in the day. It is a pretty decent golf ball. It's a relatively soft compression golf ball, and PTS has been quite a synonymous kind of like model with Titleist for quite a long time, and I think it got replaced by the DT model when that obviously came out. Not to mention we got some Tour Distance golf balls at the back here, DT Distance, but the majority of these golf balls I would say are 8 to 10 years old, if not slightly longer. The test now is, let's go and hit a few. Let's see if we get any odd results whilst trying and testing these. Or for the kind of golfer that these are actually aimed for, is it a case of anything will do at this time of year? Okay, quick little iron test. One with the worst condition golf ball, the PTS Distance, that's got that kind of bubbling effect on the cover, and then one of the most decent condition PTS Solos that we have here on the right. And see if I get any difference in terms of feel, and then obviously flight as well. Right, let's start off PTS Solo. Good condition up first. Cover very much intact. To be fair, surprisingly softer than I remember them being in the day. But that was a good flight, good amount of height, probably not what you want in terms of into-wind breeze. Now, what will be interesting is the flight and sound of this one. The one that has that marbling effect across the cover. Of course, I rifle it straight at the flag. Definitely sounded a bit harder, but do I think a beginner golfer would actually notice the difference between that and the other one? Tough to say. I mean, it's not good, don't get me wrong, you don't want them in your bag. It does go to show a level of how much difference do each golf ball make from one another when they're brand new, let alone when they've been sitting in a pond for 10 years. Okay, let the big dog eat. We're going to go poor condition first to see what kind of feel, sound, and if it generally holds together at impact. Rubbish swing, have to say, but it's gone. She has gone out the toe, round the green side. That's more like it. Exactly the same flight, I would say, as the one I hit with the poor condition one. Much higher flight though, which I wouldn't say is necessarily a bad or good thing. It just means you're potentially getting different feedback and different performance throughout the entire box. Again, for the level of golfer these are aimed for, will you notice that when you're playing? Probably not. This is where I see these balls coming into effect. 3 random golf balls, 20, 30 yards away from the flag, practice bag in the boot. You need to fill it up. 40 balls, doesn't really matter all the models. Are they exactly the same? Do they have pristine covers? Have they been sitting at the bottom of a pond for 12 years? Because you need to work on your technique. You need to stop thinning them. You need to stop fatting them. You need to work on that low bump and run. You want to work on that high flop shot, whatever it might be. You just need golf balls to work with. You don't need particularly expensive ones. You need to work on the psychology of your golf game and not necessarily on the high-end performance. You're definitely going to see some differences between these golf balls if you're a better player when it comes to driver, irons, different flights, different feels, different sounds as well. But for you lower end players, I think they're more than usable on the golf course, even though some of them have definitely seen better days. But I think effectively for all of us, this is a great little option if you need to fill your practice bag up and you need to grind around this part of the golf course. Overall, 40 balls, $26.99, not a bad price, but I deem 10 of those, almost a quarter, basically unplayable for the golf course for myself. Not to mention you will see different levels in terms of spin, height and everything else from all the different makes and models, and obviously what they've been through in terms of a past life. But again, that's not exactly what these are aimed for. They are aimed for the beginner golfer. They are aimed for the person that doesn't care about losing 3 to 4 golf balls around, and therefore that person probably won't see any difference or distinguishment between one drive or one iron to an X. They're just happy for the ball to go up in the air and obviously go forward, and if they were to lose it, they really don't mind. That being said, at a similar price point, the V300s that I tested last week, where you're basically getting the similar amount of golf balls for the same price and they are all brand new, I would say potentially is better for the golf course because you know what you're getting with each one. Even though there's potentially some golf balls in here that are potentially better when they first came out, what's to say they're potentially better 10 to 12 years later? Guys, if you like this video, you probably like my Strixon Marathon Soft video up here, which is an outrageous deal from Sports Direct. Catch you guys there.